Hi, I'm Jason Buck, and this is my real estate update for Palos Verdes. I want to talk about what's come on the market, how many listings, what was a nice house that sold, what were some of the new listings that came on the market, and what's been happening with things going into escrow. Today is September 11th, and I wouldn't feel right if I didn't acknowledge the fact that many people lost their lives today, many years ago, and the senseless violence that we see even recently has no place in this world. We do need to figure that out. It's really tough, and I just hope and pray that people have a little more compassion and forgiveness and able to see the other side. It's so important. This is Storm, and she's a very beautiful puppy, but she sometimes makes noise, so I'm trying to hold her so that she doesn't make too much noise out here while I'm doing this talk. All right, let's jump into real estate, okay? This is Palos Verdes. One of the reasons why people like to be here is because of the beautiful views and the awesome weather. It's a little windy out here on the deck today, but gorgeous nonetheless. You can see Catalina Island there in the background, and that would be Avalon over there at the point. Okay, so what an interesting week compared to last week. Last week, I believe we had, let's see, 24, 15, 30, 24, under 50 new listings. This week, 70 in terms of activity throughout. 24 new listings last week. This week, 29. So a little pickup there. In escrow this last week, 22 as opposed to 15, and then sold 17 as opposed to 13. So let's dive in a little deeper. Of the 29 new active listings, 14 of those were price reductions. One that kind of stands out is this home at Grieve, 3651. Grieve is located off Palos Verdes Drive East, up above what used to be Marymount, now UCLA. They're down to 1.399, so that's one of the lowest homes on the market. That's interesting. It's worth looking at. I'm going to take a peek later tomorrow with someone. And then 2736 Paseo Del Mar hit the market for 9.4. Not on the cliff, but a big house, big estate. If you're in that price range, that is a beautiful coastal ranch property, just pretty magnificent throughout. Worth taking a look. I also have two homes that are fire sales around the $5 million mark. And these fire sale meaning that they've got to dump it and they're letting it go for a very good number. So if you're in that kind of market at the 5 million, please call me and I'll share more information. These are nice properties. They should have sold, they didn't. And that's kind of what we're seeing throughout. You know, I've listed a few things over the last couple weeks. One of them is priced well. It's a beautiful home, good square footage, not grossly overpriced or underpriced, just priced well, and it's been taking a while. However, yesterday there were 3 showings, so out of the blue yesterday, a lot of people showed up, which kind of hints at the fact that there's a lot of talk around interest rates. Interest rates right now are hovering anywhere from the low 5s up into the 7s, depending upon your debt to equity ratio, what you qualify for, your FICO score, and all these different things. So I have lenders that I love to refer, either based on who you bank with, or if you're an independent contractor like myself and you need to work with a mortgage broker, I've got plenty of people that I'd share with you. My business philosophy is give you 2 or 3 or 4 and let you choose who fits your model the best. Moving into what has sold. A couple of these I like to point out, like days on market is stretched to roughly 30 days, but there's a few that are selling quickly, and those are the ones I want to point out. 2232 Daladier or Daladier, I don't know how you say it, 2.99 sold in 6 days. 30433 Via Rivera was at 2.48, that sold in 6 days. That was a home that was sold about a year ago, or not even 6 months ago. And then they refurbished it. They did work to it and listed it, and they're doing pretty good with that number. That's a big number for that neighborhood. That's this neighborhood, Point Vicente. 7088 Crest. This was a nice house, a big flat lot, well done, no real view, but priced at 3049. That was a nice one, and it's an escrow, 6 days. One that was very interesting was 5 Caballeros, probably listed too low when they listed at 2.45. This is in the gated community Rolling Hills. I do believe they had multiple offers. I had a client who wrote on it, but they got one of those, oh, it's too good to pass up, over asking, all cash, no contingency. So knowing that at that price, and they went over it obviously, but still they left some room on the table there when they priced it pretty low, in my opinion, for that gated community. And it was a pretty house, very well kept, lots of potential. Moving on to what has sold. We had 17 homes sell in the last week. A couple notables, 28231 Trail Riders. They asked 1.649. They got their ask in 5 days. 28074 Akana. Now this is one that they held out for their ask. They were asking 185. They got it right at the money, but it took them 73 days. So therein lies your, do you wait for your price or do you take a deal as it comes to you? A couple others, one that went over was a 26622 Honey Creek. That was listed at 2.245. It was one of the only ones I saw that went over to 2.405 in 9 days. What's interesting about that one is it sold in 2021 for 1.608. Now, I've been talking a lot about homes that sold during COVID and not being able to sell those for as much as they sold for back then, but this was one that needed work. They made a very good buy. They actually came out okay. Very, very interesting. All this data is pretty neat, but it can all be adjusted to fit what you're looking at, like what your price range is, where you're looking, and so forth, because it makes a big difference. And that's what I'm here for. I try to do this to help you understand what's happening in the market, but let's dive deeper and call me and share with me what questions you have and what area you want to specialize in, so that we can hone in on that area and really look at either the comparable sales or the activity to understand where it should be priced and what's a good buy. So, I grew up right here, and I'm very passionate about the history of Palos Verdes, and I'd love to share that with you over coffee or over a drive through the neighborhood. So let me know what works for you, and try to give the guy that's speeding or breaking into your lane or causing problems a little extra space. I feel like if everybody did that, we'd have a better place to live. And boy, I think we need to work on where we live right now based on what's happening around the world. And just be safe, people. And I don't mean to get into that whole stuff, but boy, it's on top of everyone's mind. So do what you can to be a better person. Thanks, and have a great day.